We make decisions in our life and then we feel like we're living in a jail. There's so much we want to do. We want to be spiritual, but we feel like we're restricted. We feel like it's so hard to balance both of those things. And that's exactly the dilemma that Arjuna has. He says to Krishna, can I really be on the battlefield and be spiritual? Can I really live in the world and do my karma and still attain spiritual success? So we chanted 3 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita in a row because these 3 chapters are dealing with a similar theme. Here, Krishna has told Arjuna about success, about identity. Arjuna is accepting it. He's accepting, I'm a spiritual being in a human body at the moment. But Arjuna has a doubt. Arjuna has a confusion. Arjuna has a reservation. That is it possible to live both of these things side by side? Therefore, if you look at all of these chapters, what is the common word? Every single one of these chapters use the word karma because Arjuna doesn't want to do karma. Arjuna is saying to Krishna, now you've told me I'm a spiritual being, best thing is that I eject myself. Early retirement. And Krishna says, everyone has to act. Nobody can retire. Everyone has to do their dharma. But you have to do karma yoga. You have to do it in a spiritual way. So Arjuna is asking questions about this because most of us struggle with this. We're living out there in the world and it's very difficult to be spiritual. When I was at university, I studied at UCL. So I used to take the train from Wembley Park to Euston Square every single day. So I would be sitting in the train carriage. And I tell you, one day I was sitting in the Metropolitan Line train carriage. And I was watching the whole scene. And I had this realization, this is a jail. Does it look like a jail to you? Sometimes it feels like a jail. We make decisions in our life and then we feel like we're living in a jail. There's so much we want to do. We want to be spiritual, but we feel like we're restricted. We feel like it's so hard to balance both of those things. And that's exactly the dilemma that Arjuna has. He says to Krishna, can I really be on the battlefield and be spiritual? Can I really live in the world and do my karma and still attain spiritual success? The Bhagavad Gita was spoken on the battlefield. This is very, very significant because on the battlefield of life, the immediate and the ultimate both become very, very important. The immediate is important because in the very next moment, everyone's going to take their weapons out and everyone's going to start fighting and you need to know what to do. But the ultimate also becomes very important because on a battlefield, what could happen at any moment? You could die. And then what? What happens after that? So the battlefield is a very interesting place because it's the place where the immediate is important and the ultimate is also important. Therefore, the Bhagavad Gita is an incredible book because it doesn't just talk about the metaphysical, but it talks about the physical. It doesn't just talk about the otherworldly, but it talks about this world. It doesn't just talk about the afterlife, but it talks about the here life. And therefore, Krishna is now systematically training Arjuna in how to do his duty, be in the world, perform all of his karma, and at the same time, keep his mind focused on the ultimate. Therefore, I told you, the first thing we have to do is join the 5 a.m. club. And when I gave this offer to someone, they said, that sounds great, but after the 5 a.m. club, there's the 9 a.m. reality. 5 a.m. everything is fine. 9 a.m. everything is... One time we had one person, he came from Citibank, and he came to the temple for Mangalarti. So he was like a global director in Citibank. So I spoke to him after. He said, you guys, your movement is the most organized movement in the whole world. I said, are you in the same, are you seeing the same thing as me? He goes, no, it's amazing. He says, I've traveled all around the world, and whichever temple I go to, you guys have Mangalarti at the same time, is singing in the same tune, and the same pujari is offering the same items, and at the very on the dot, the conch is blown. Because this is amazing management. I said, wow. So he said, yeah, therefore, he said, I travel all around, I come to your morning program. I said, what do you do after the morning program? He says, I leave the temple about 8 o'clock and then I go to, I said, that's when all the chaos starts in the temple. Up until the morning program, everything's okay, but then it gets a little chaotic. We're all living in the world. And it's hard because you have to balance so many things. Can you really do it and be spiritual? What makes it hard for you to be a spiritual person while living in the world? Tell me. This is your time to vent. Tell me, what makes it hard? No time. People. Was that your husband? Or okay, we'll leave that bit out. Responsibilities. Career. It could be your wife as well. Yes, I'll let you get that one in as well. We'll put it here. Wife. And we'll put husband as well in capitals. Just equal rights. What makes it hard? Tell me. Fear. Fear of what? Public opinion. Public opinion. What people will say. Tiredness. Kali Yuga. Freedom. What do you mean freedom? Okay, that was the last one. Go on. Who was that? Responsibilities, duties. Anyway, I'm not going to let you vent now. We get too much. So many things make it hard. There are many obstacles. Arjuna is saying to Krishna, let me go to the forest. If you go to the forest, will you have the problem of no time? No? That problem solved. If you go to the forest, will you have all these annoying people around you? The mother-in-law. No, problem solved. If you go to the forest, will you have responsibilities? No, problem solved. If you go to the forest, you have to turn up, clock in, 9 a.m., or pretending like you're working online when you're not. No. Wife, husband, as long as you don't take them with you. Public opinion, problem in the forest? Where there ain't no one around, unless you're worried what the cuckoos say or something. Tiredness? You can make your own schedule. No problem. Duties? No. Sounds like a good plan, no? Arjuna is wise. Say, Krishna, it makes sense, no? Makes sense to give it all up. We're giving you all an open invitation. Krishna, Arjuna is saying, why do you want me to stay here? Why do you want me to live in this world? Why do you want me to face all of these things? It doesn't make any sense. Better, Krishna, Tyag. Open invitation. Any takers? In one Jain monastic tradition, when you become a monk, you have to pull out every single hair by your hand. Now you know why I became a Hare Krishna. Not ready for that one. Can you walk away from it all? Sometimes in our heart we feel, I just leave away, go away. Krishna says to Arjuna, you can't. Because practically, you won't even be able to maintain yourself if you go to the forest. Society won't be maintained. It will never work on a practical level. Krishna says to Arjuna, even if you want to walk away from the battlefield, it won't work because your mind will still be on the battlefield. If you leave the battlefield, if you leave your job, your career, and you go to the forest, in the forest you'll be thinking, did Man United win the Premier League? Did that person get married? Your mind will still be there. And Krishna says, what you don't realize, Arjuna, is that every single obstacle which you think is blocking you from your spirituality is actually an opportunity. But you have to look at it in a different way. And so, Krishna says to Arjuna, you have to learn the art of karma yoga. You have to be involved in the world, but not entangled. How do you make your work into worship? Krishna gives a lot of information. I'm just trying to condense it for you. I'm giving you 6 things that Krishna tells Arjuna to do to make your life as a karma yogi. The first thing Krishna says is, do a job in the world that resonates with you. Follow your swadharma. If you're a teacher, be a teacher. If you're a teacher, don't become an investment banker just because it earns you money. Follow your own dharma. Every single person has a dharma. Dharma rakshita rakshita. If you protect your dharma will protect you. Always do a career in life which resonates with you. In your career and your work, refine it so that you're working in a world that doesn't cause exploitation to others, that doesn't develop qualities which are unfavorable within you. Do a career, work in the world, function in a refined way so that you don't accrue sinful reactions. Results. Offer whatever results you get from your work. Ma karma falahetu urbur ma te sangos karmani. Krishna says, offer your results. You work in the world, you get some intelligence. Use that in a spiritual way. You work in the world, you get some money. Use that in a spiritual way. You work in the world, you get some influence. Use it in a spiritual way. By using your results, you become a karma yogi. Rest. Make sure, swasthya, you take care of your health. What profiteth a man who gains the whole world but loses their soul? Take rest. Don't work so hard that you have no time in your life to do other things. Remember Krishna while working in the world. This we call smaran. Create an environment where you can remember Krishna. And the remainder of your time outside of your work, do sadhana. Do spiritual practice. If you do these 6 things, then you live in the world, but you will be as good, if not better, than any sannyasi. Krishna says to Arjuna, Anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karoti ya sa sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragnir na chakriya. The sannyasi is not just one who is seen by some external dress. This does not make one a sannyasi. What makes one a sannyasi is that every activity is connected in a spiritual way, and every single person has that opportunity. I'm going to leave you with one final thought, because whenever we talk about karma yoga, the biggest problem people say is, I don't have time. Agreed? Yes. Life is busy. Agreed? Yes. You wish you had an 8th day in the week. Agreed? So what I did is I studied so many time management books. In 1.5 minutes, I'm going to tell you the essence of everything. I don't want to waste your time. We need to make time. We need to know how to manage time. First thing is maximize. The most simple point is no wasting time. Did you know that if you don't waste time, Krishna will bring more time in your life? Because Krishna says, Kalos me, I am time. But if you waste time, then why will Krishna give you more time? Because you're not utilizing what you have. Therefore, there are 1,000,001 ways in which we waste time. If you don't waste time, then you'll find time expands. Second thing is prioritize. Oftentimes what happens is we do the easy things, we do the appreciated things, we do the visible things, but we don't do the important things. Therefore, know what to do first and what to do next. Third thing is eliminate. Learn to say no. We think time management means putting more and more and more and more and more. Time management also means look at your life and ask yourself, what things am I doing that I don't need to do? Because if you don't say no to one thing, then you will be saying no to a more important thing without even knowing. And the final thing is integrate. Don't kill 2 birds with 1 stone, but liberate 2 birds with 1 samosa. In other words, do 2 things in 1 activity. If you need exercise, then go for a walk and at the same time chant Hare Krishna. And in that way, you can chant and you can also remain healthy. In other words, integrate. This is the essence. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, you just have to learn to reposition your lifestyle. You can be spiritual in the world. The world will tell you, give your best from 9 to 5. Krishna says, give your best from 5 p.m. to 9 a.m. Because it's in this time that you rest. It's in this time that you recuperate. It's in this time that you realign yourself with your spiritual principles by joining the 5 a.m. club. And if you take this time seriously, then when you emerge into the world from 9 to 5, you will be a spiritual person. But between 5 and 9, if you waste it, then between 9 and 5, forget it. The world will tell you you can be anything you want to be. That's not true. You can be everything that you are meant to be. Each of us have a dharma. Each of us have a special ability, a special aptitude given by Krishna. And we all have to find our dharma. It's not that we can become anything that we want to be. But Krishna has given us each a genius capability that we have to find. Most people in the world are stressed out because they obsess about success. Krishna says, don't do that. Just focus on the process. Krishna says, you're not in charge of the results. If you're a student and you got exams coming up, don't obsess about getting A's. Instead, just focus on the process of how to prepare yourself in the best way, and then know that whatever result comes is Krishna's plan and is already a success because you focus on the process. And the world will tell you, use your success to enjoy. No, sorry. Use your success to serve others. When you succeed in the world and then you use that success to make other people's lives beautiful, that success becomes fulfilling and that success brings you happiness. And therefore, Krishna tells Arjuna, just reposition yourself. You don't need to eject yourself from the world. I've told you, success is not just material, it's spiritual. And I've told you, you are a spiritual being and you have to follow your material duties. But remember, the material and spiritual can be perfectly integrated if you learn how to reposition your lifestyle. Hare Krishna.